Hello again. I've got another story for you. Another naughty little sister story. So these are written by a lady called Dorothy Edwards. And she's written lots of lovely books. These ones are my favourites. This one is called My Naughty Little Sister and the Workmen. And this was my favourite whenever I was little. And I'll tell you why. There's a funny word in this story. Or funny two little words stuck together. And it's Macintoshy bundle. A Macintoshy bundle, and I just loved the sound of those words. I thought it was such a silly word. A Macintosh is like an old-fashioned word for a big heavy raincoat. So a Macintoshy bundle was something wrapped up in a big heavy raincoat. So you remember that whenever you get to my favourite word. So this is My Naughty Little Sister and the Workmen. When my naughty little sister was a very little girl, she was a very, very inquisitive child. That meant that she liked to find out about things. She was always looking and peeping into things that didn't belong to her. She used to open other people's cupboards and boxes just to find out what was inside. Aren't you glad you aren't as inquisitive as that? It's a bit nosy, isn't it? Well now, one day a lot of workmen came to dig up all the roads near our house, and my little sister was very interested in them. They were very nice men, but some of them had rather loud, shouty voices. There were shoveling men, and picking men, and men with jumping about things, and men who drank tea out of jam pots, and men who cooked sausages over fires. And there was an old man who sat up all night when the other men had gone home, and he had lots of coats and scarves to keep him warm. There were lots of things for my little inquisitive sister to see. There were heaps of earth and red lanterns for the old man to light at night time, and long poley things to keep people from falling down the holes in the road. And the workmen's huts, and lots of other things. When the workmen were on our road, my little sister used to watch them every day. She used to lean over the gate and stare and stare. But when they went off into the next road, she didn't see very much of them. Well now, I will tell you about the inquisitive thing that my naughty little sister did one day, shall I? Yes. Well, do you remember Bad Harry, who was my little sister's best friend? Do you? I thought you did. Now, this Harry came one day to ask my mother if my little sister could go round to his house to play with him. And as Harry's house wasn't far away and there were no roads to cross, my mother said that yes, my little sister could go. So, my little sister put on her hat and her coat and her scarf and her gloves because it was a cold and nasty day, and went off with her best friend to play with him. They hurried along the road like good children until they came to the workmen in the next road, and then they went slow as slow because there were so many things to see. They looked at this and that, and when they got past the workman, they found a very curious thing. By the road there was a tall hedge, and under the tall hedge there was a Macintoshy bundle. Now, this Macintoshy bundle hadn't anything to do with Harry, and it didn't have anything to do with my little sister. But you know that they were so inquisitive, and they stopped and looked at it. They had such a good look that they had to go right under the hedge to see it. And when they got very near, they found that it was an old Macintosh wrapped around something or other inside. Weren't they naughty? They should have gone straight home to Harry's mother's house, shouldn't they? But they didn't. They stayed and looked at the Macintoshy bundle. And they opened it. They really, truly did. It wasn't their bundle, but they opened it wide under the hedge. And do you know what was inside? I know you aren't an inquisitive, meddlesome child, but would you like to know? Well, inside the bundle, there were lots and lots of parcels and packages tied up in red handkerchiefs and brown paper and newspaper. And instead of putting them back again like nice children, those little horrors started to open all those parcels. And inside those parcels were lots of nice things to eat. There were sandwiches and cakes and meat pies and cold cooked fish and eggs and goodness knows what else. Weren't those children surprised? They couldn't think of how all those sandwiches and things could have got into the old Macintosh. And then Harry said, "Shall we eat some?" Now you remember he was a very greedy boy. But my little sister said, "No, it's picked up food." My little sister knew that my mother had told her never, never to eat picked up food. You see, she was good about that. Only she was very, very bad after that because she said, "I know, let's play with it." So they took out all those sandwiches and cakes and meat pies and cold cooked fish and eggs and they laid them across the path and made them onto pretty patterns on the ground. Then Harry threw a sandwich at my little sister and she threw a meat pie at him and they began to have a lovely game. And then, do you know what happened? A big roary voice called out, "What are you doing with our dinners, you monkeys, you?" And there was a big workman coming towards them looking so cross and angry that those two naughty children screamed and screamed. And because the workman was so roary, they turned and they ran back down the road. And the big workman ran after them as cross as cross. Weren't they frightened? When they got back to where the other roadmen were digging, those children were more frightened than ever because the big workman shouted to all the other workmen about what those naughty children had done with their dinners. Yes, those poor workmen had put all their dinners under the hedge in an old Macintosh to keep them safe and dry until dinner time. As well as being frightened, Harry and my naughty little sister were very ashamed. They were so ashamed that they did a most silly thing. When they heard the big workman telling the others about their dinners, those silly children ran and hid themselves in one of the pipes that the workmen were putting in the road. My naughty little sister went first, and old Harry came after her. Because my naughty little sister was so frightened, she wriggled in and in the pipe, and Harry came wriggling after her because he was so frightened too. And then a dreadful thing happened to my naughty little sister. That Harry got stuck in the pipe. He couldn't go any further. He was quite a round boy, you see, and he stuck as fast in the pipe. And then didn't those sillies howl and howl? My little sister howled because she didn't want to go on and on down the roadmen's pipes on her own. And Harry howled because he couldn't move at all. It was all terrible, of course, but the roary workman rescued them very quickly. He couldn't reach Harry with his arm, but he got a long, hooky iron thing and he hooked it into Harry's belt and he pulled and pulled. And very soon he pulled Harry out of the pipe. Wasn't it a good thing they had that big hooky iron? And wasn't it a very good thing that Harry had a strong belt on his coat? When Harry was out, my little sister wriggled back and came out too. And when she saw all the poor workmen who wouldn't have any dinner, she cried and cried and told them what a sorry girl she was. She told the workmen that she and Harry hadn't known that the Macintoshy bundle was their dinners. And Harry said he was sorry too, and they were so really truly ashamed that the big workman said, "Well, never mind this time. It's payday today, so we shall all send the boy for fish and chips instead." And he told my little sister not to cry anymore. So my little sister stopped crying, and she and Harry both said that they would never, never meddle and be inquisitive again. I'm not sure that I believe them. There's the picture of Harry and my naughty little sister running away from the big roary workman. It was a very silly and dangerous thing they did, climbing into those pipes. So that's why it's very important to stay with a grown-up and to be safe. So I am going to go now and get my supper and get ready for bed. And I hope you are too. And I'll maybe read you another story another time. Night, night.